Hello book nerds, welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a little Kindle Unlimited browsing. You guys seem to really enjoy my fall Kindle Unlimited recommendations in TBR, so we are doing another one today. These are Christmas and winter themed. Most of these are books that I have not read and that I'm interested in, but I just wanted to share with you, maybe help you just kind of narrow down your TBR, give you some ideas of some things to read. And there are a few on here as well that I have personally read and I will give my recommendations for. So as we are filming this, it is December 5th, 2024. Currently, I am reading The Songbird and the Heart of Stone, which is a continuation. It's a separate duology from the Crowns of Neoxia, not sure if that's the correct pronunciation, series by Carissa Broadbent, which I absolutely loved. Some of my favorite reads of last year. So all of those books are also on Kindle Unlimited. Just as a little side note, a really good fantasy romance series. But let's just jump into some fun Christmassy Kindle Unlimited options. I'm gonna start with just Christmas romance first, just get it out of the way. If you guys have been around on the channel, you know I have a love-hate relationship with romances, especially contemporary romance. But if you put a festive spin on something, make it seasonal, put it in a small town, that honestly can bump my enjoyment level up a little bit. So there's quite a few Hallmark-esque Christmassy romances on this list. We're going with a fun bookstore theme because I just feel like that's what we're all here for, right? So we love a bookstore. I personally am currently reading The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, which honestly isn't giving enough bookstore for me. So I'm hoping that the Christmas bookshop might be a little bit more on par with what I am hoping for. This one is honestly decently rated for a kind of cheesy Hallmark Christmas book. 3.75 on Goodreads and 4.3 on Amazon. This one is set in Edinburgh, which really makes me excited. It just kind of gives that like quaint English romantic vibe, giving like the holiday. It says it's a romance, but apparently this is about a woman who loses her job and moves in with her sister who has like the perfect family life. Obviously during the holidays, there's going to be some kind of romance in there. I always like a sister or family dynamic in holiday books. I just feel like it makes sense to me. I personally like that. The Family Stone is one of my favorite Christmas movies. Very like family drama centric. That's something that I like. So this one looks really fun and the cover is really cute. And the sequel, Midnight in the Christmas Bookshop, is also on Kindle Unlimited. Another quaint Christmas option is Snowden for Christmas. This is by Sarah Morgan. This one seems very Hallmark, right? Apparently like a large family at Christmas with a kind of unwanted, uninvited guest. It's giving very Sarah Jessica Parker in The Family Stone. This one is again quite highly rated. 4.5 on Amazon and 4.1 on Goodreads. I think this one could be fun. Again, the family dynamic I think really works for Christmas. This next one is actually a collection that you guys might have seen going around. It is very TikTok, book talk, contemporary romance focused. Not something that I generally go for and probably not something that I'm going to read, but I figured I would share it with you guys because I know that a lot of people enjoy these authors and these types of books. No judgment, generally not for me. I might give one a shot. The good thing about these is these are all novellas, so they're all quite short. This is the Under the Mistletoe Amazon Originals collection. This is a collection of all these similar books with all these kind of very pop art, again, TikTok, book talk covers with a bunch of popular authors. Those ones are all options. To be fair, none of them are that highly rated, and Ali Hazelwood books kind of scare me. I have not read one. It doesn't seem like something I would like, so I'm not sure. However, to be fair, I did read a kind of cheesy contemporary romance last year for Christmas, Cat Cafe Christmas, and I quite enjoyed it. It was just a cozy, fun time, nothing too serious. It was a 3-star. To me, a 3-star is like, I still enjoyed it. I'm not expecting a lot from these. So who knows? We'll see. Might give them a try, but I definitely wanted to mention them. Another Christmas novella from a popular romance author is My December Darling by Lauren Asher. I believe Lauren Asher did the fine print. I saw Olivia Reads a Latte mention this. She was reading it on her Kindle. This one is 3.87 on Goodreads and about a 4 on Amazon. Amazon ratings are generally pretty highly skewed because you have to just think like Amazon, you know, it's very much like Oprah's book club, New York Times bestsellers, like Colleen Hoover kind of audience. Just my opinion. I just think they're probably a little bit heavily skewed positive. This one is again a novella, so short. I think that works really well for these Christmas romances. Like 200 pages is the max that these should be, in my opinion. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe and Cinnamon Bun Bookstore are examples where I just feel like they're a little too long. Like I'm 80% about right now and I want it to be done. This is a small town Christmas novella. I have found that I do enjoy a small town romance though. This one is a Christmas themed, obviously romance, a grumpy maid of honor and an outgoing best man. So you have a wedding, Christmas, and kind of grumpy sunshine. That one could do it for me. I love weddings and I like small town, so we'll see. And last on this list, another small town romance is The Christmas Fix. This one again just kind of seemed up my alley, and one that's a bit more highly rated, so I just wanted to mention it. Another small town single dad who has to like save a Christmas festival vibes. So you have single dad, small town, Christmas, blonde, bossy bombshell type. This one also says enemies to lovers. So that's The Christmas Fix. This one is 4.3 on Amazon, 3.96 on Goodreads. I tried to pick ones that I feel like were generally highly rated. That's gonna be it for Christmas romances. The next genre of this is just general fiction. Historical fiction, classics, mystery thrillers, anything like that. And this section also is not Christmas specific because I feel like it's very hard to find Christmas books that aren't romance. So these are all just kind of more winter themed. So, you know, think dark, moody, snowed in, cold, snowy settings. And first up we have Keeper of Enchanted Rooms. Now, I'm gonna be so honest, this one doesn't seem like it's very wintry. However, when I Googled winter books that aren't Christmas, this was on the list, so here we are. This one is 4.17 on Goodreads. This is a writer estranged from his family is surprised when he inherits a remote island estate, Rhode Island in 1846. So I feel like the vibes in like the remote island, it might just be like kind of a wet, dark, creepy setting. Historical fiction, fantasy, magic, right up my alley. The cover is also very cute. It's definitely giving magical realism to me. So this one I'm interested in. This is also part of a series. I believe there's like 4 or so in this one. The Wimbrel House series. Next on the list is a Kristen Hanna that I have not personally read and one that I don't own physically because I do own a lot of Kristen Hanna's books physically. I see them in my Goodwill all the time and I always grab them because I have not read a Kristen Hanna that I have not loved. There's another one on this list that I have read that I'm going to recommend, but this one is Night Road. If you're not aware, Kristen Hanna is very much women's fiction. So most of her stories are about women and their families, their relationships, their lives, their hardships, their careers, things like that. It seems like a very emotionally charged story about like a tragedy that hits this family, and it's the typical like mom who has just felt like her entire life revolves around her children. And it seems like she's just kind of trying to navigate like a very traumatic event that has happened. Kristen Hanna's books are very heavy. I will give that disclaimer. They're very engaging for me to read. I think she just does characters really well. She does kind of like the thought process and human women experience very well. So this one is just one that's on Kindle Unlimited that I don't have. So this is on my list. Another winter Kristen Hanna, this is a side note, this one is not on Kindle Unlimited. This is one that I own, The Great Alone, which is set in the Alaskan wilderness. I've heard people rave about that one as well. If you do like Kristen Hanna and you want like a wintry themed read, I haven't read it yet. It's definitely high up on my list. But another Kristen Hanna that is on Kindle Unlimited that I have personally read and loved, that is Winter Garden. This one is again about 2 sisters and their mother and kind of their all intertwined relationships. So the 2 very different sister dynamics, one who did the very traditional like home life as a mom, and then the other one who kind of like pursued her dreams, and she was like a famous photojournalist, and they come back home to take care of their mother who is ill, and you're basically getting these retrospective looks into the past of their mother living in Russia in very much war-torn poverty. Really, really sad, crazy, gripping, emotional story that their mother is kind of telling her children when they're kind of back, and it's their dynamic of all trying to understand each other, appreciate each other, and it's just a really beautiful ending, really beautiful story. So I would definitely highly recommend that one. This is a 4.6 on Amazon and a 4.27 on Goodreads. This is one I just feel like I don't hear people talk about as much with Kristen Hanna, but in my opinion is up there with some of her other reads. I actually enjoyed this one more than The Women that I read most recently from Kristen Hanna. I think my most favorite Kristen Hanna so far was The Four Winds. Most people say The Nightingale is like one of their favorite books. It's my favorite Kristen Hanna. That was amazing. Really enjoyed it. But for me, it's The Four Winds, then The Nightingale, then Winter Garden. Another winter historical fiction is The Winter Cottage. This one is another kind of mystery historical fiction, like family secrets type of vibe. Very highly rated on Goodreads, 4.2, an Amazon charts bestseller. What got me for this one was, again, you guys know I mention it all the time, I love multiple timelines. This is a triple timeline of World War I, the 80s, and 2016. So basically about a woman staying at a winter cottage, learning, like, kind of trying to uncover her family secrets and history. Next, we have a couple thrillers. The first one is The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley, or Foley. This is a kind of classic, like, whodunit. So this one is about a group of like 30 somethings who all went to Oxford University together, and they have a tradition that they meet up and do a vacation every Christmas time or winter time. And so this time they choose the Scottish Highlands, basically a bunch of friend drama. And like 10 years after this apparent event happened and things start to just unravel, secrets start to come out, the tea seems piping hot. I personally love that as a Gemini. I love the drama, I love the secrets, and I love a friend group who all just kind of have like different relationships with each other, like people who have dated, the two people who secretly like don't actually like each other in the group, the two people who it's like, will they, won't they romance. I personally love that dynamic. So this one seems really interesting. I've really enjoyed all of Lucy Foley's books that I have read. Nothing groundbreaking to me, like never 5 stars, but always a very quick, really engaging read. This one is rated 4.0 on Amazon and 3.6 on Goodreads. Another one from a popular kind of thriller mystery author is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I recently read this one and it was such a perfect winter creepy read. This one is set like a couple takes a romantic vacation to like an abandoned church, and it's like the middle of a snowstorm. And again, secrets start to unravel. There's like a mystery. You're getting multiple POVs. Very suspenseful, very interesting. This one's like more of a domestic thriller, which is something that I don't read a lot of, but I really enjoyed this one. So Rock, Paper, Scissors, 3.9 on Goodreads and a 4.1 on Amazon. This one is like a #1 bestseller in the kind of domestic fiction genre. So just a really quick read. I read this in like 2 days, really enjoyed it. Okay, and then last for this fiction category, we have a very traditional classic, one of the most wintry classics that you can imagine, and that's Wuthering Heights. This is actually available on Kindle Unlimited. There's a lot of classics also available on Amazon Prime, not just Kindle Unlimited. So I would definitely give those a browse if you're looking for like a classic option. I personally think classics really lend themselves to this time of year. They're just a little bit slower, just really beautiful and kind of haunting. Wuthering Heights is a gothic fiction classic, so very dreary emo vibes in this one. This is by Emily Bronte. I have said before the Bronte sisters are probably my favorite classic authors. I have read Wuthering Heights, but I really want to read it again because it's been probably 15 years at this point since I read it. So this one is about Heathcliff and Catherine, who are kind of like a fated love journey, like that's just very much explores like obsession when it comes to relationships. There's also a lot of themes of gender equality, social kind of, you know, class systems, like social hierarchy kind of things. And again, like romantic obsession and toxicity, but in a classic setting, very gothic, very much winter, cold weather, dreary vibes, like perfect read for just like a rainy, cold day. Highly recommend this one. Rated 4.4 on Amazon and 3.89 on Goodreads. Just a cult classic, honestly. And one that if you feel like if you are going to read a classic this year, if you don't read them very often, if you're looking for one in the winter and you really enjoy like gothic fantasy, definitely give Wuthering Heights a try. Speaking of fantasy, I just have a couple on this list that are interesting to me. Not all quite super wintry. The first one definitely is. This is Court of Winter, which is going to be your very stereotypical fantasy romance, but actually decently rated. So I'm willing to give this one a try. I just have so many other fantasy romances like on the list, but again, this one is Court of Winter. The cover and obviously the title are very much giving seasonal. So there might be one that I prioritize. Literally, the universe series title is Fae of Snow and Ice. It's giving very Frozen, giving very Court of Frost and Starlight. So this is a enemies to lovers fae fantasy, currently a 4-book series. Steamy romance, strong female fae character, and a morally gray prince. So very stereotypical what you're gonna expect from a fae fantasy romance. But this one's 4.12 on Goodreads. Again, this kind of fantasy romance is often skewed very high. So I don't think it's gonna be like, I don't hear much about it, but I feel like if you're looking for something different than like the traditional ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, Carissa Broadbent, if you're looking for something a little bit different, highly rated on Amazon as well. So generally like a 4 or above rating, 4.5 on Amazon with over 12,000 reviews. So I feel like that's pretty good. Another one that's been on my TBR for a very long time. I don't think it's very wintry at all. These last two are just kind of, the vibes seemed a bit wintry to me because this one's a gothic fantasy. This is One Dark Window. I actually own this physically, so I probably won't read this on my Kindle, but it is on Kindle Unlimited. It's a #1 bestseller, very popular book. So I felt like it was worth mentioning if you're interested in a gothic fantasy for the cold weather months. A dark, lushly gothic fantasy about a maiden who must unleash the monster within to save her kingdom. To me, that just gives like winter vibes and the dark, creepy setting. So that one's on Kindle Unlimited, and I believe the sequel is as well. This one's 4.5 on Amazon and 4.29 on Goodreads. So very highly rated. And the last one on my list is a kind of Greek mythology inspired fantasy. Again, not really wintry, but just kind of, I don't know, might be a fun time. This is The Games Gods Play. So it seems like a kind of Hunger Games situation where like every 100 years, the gods like put on some kind of contest for the mortals set in like the underworld, Hades, Zeus, those kinds of things. So this one is 4.5 rated on Amazon and 4.19 on Goodreads. This is part of the Crucible series. I don't know, Greek mythology does kind of give summer to me, but for some reason, maybe it's the dark blue cover. I just felt like maybe it might be a fun winter read. So not necessarily Christmas or winter, but just one that I thought I would mention. Seems like a good fun time if you're interested in a Greek mythology retelling. That is gonna be it for this list. I hope you guys got some good ideas of things you can browse and try out on Kindle Unlimited. I am sure they are doing some kind of deal right now, holiday time. I do harp on how much I love Kindle Unlimited a lot just because I really think that the library is worth it. There is a wide variety of books to choose from. I personally really like it. So I will have a link to Kindle Unlimited, my Kindle, all those kind of things in the description if you're interested. I also do a seasonal roundup for these Kindle Unlimited reads on my blog, so that will be linked below if you're interested as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Happy reading.